Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Journey with Vijay Kumar Srivastav. Today we are going to study the topic Agriculture GK Part 4. In this topic we will cover various multiple choice questions which are very important for agriculture competitive examinations. So let's proceed. Now we will start with question 1. Who is known as father of Green Revolution in India? Option A, M.S. Swaminathan. Option B, Vikram Sarabhai. Option C, Somnath Desai. And option D, S. Radhakrishnan. First, we will understand Green Revolution. Green Revolution in India was initiated in late 1960s by introducing high-yielding varieties of rice and wheat crops to increase food production in order to eradicate hunger and poverty. Norman Borlaug is known as father of Green Revolution globally, who was an American scientist and led initiation worldwide that contributed to the extensive increase in agriculture production, which was termed as Green Revolution. In India, it was founded by Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, so he is known as father of Green Revolution in India. So answer will be A. Now question 2. In which year Indian Council of Agriculture Research Institution was established in India? Options A 1919, option B 1929, option C 1939 and option D 1949. Now we will study about ICR, Indian Council of Agriculture Research. Indian Council of Agriculture Research is an apex organization and autonomous body for conducting and coordinating agriculture research, which has been at the forefront to lead agriculture revolutions in the country. Formerly, it was known as Imperial Council of Agriculture Research and it was established in 1929. So answer is option B 1929. Now question 3. The minimum support price MSP for food grains was introduced in the year option A 1954, option B 1964, option C 1974 and option D 1984. The minimum price is the price at which government purchases crops from the farmers, whatever may be the price for crops in the market. This price is announced in the beginning of the season prior to sowing to assure farmers about agriculture income, besides provide a clear price signal. In the year 1964, Food Corporation of India was established to procure the food grains at remunerative prices from farmers, which was beginning of MSP. So the answer will be 1964 option B. Now question 4. Under which plan did the government introduce an agriculture strategy which gave rise to Green Revolution? Option A, first 5-year plan, option B, second 5-year plan, option C, third 5-year plan, and option D, fourth 5-year plan. From 1961 to 1966, there were release of 4 maize hybrids in 1961 and National Seed Corporation was established in 1963. High-yielding varieties program was launched in 1966 on maize, bajra, paddy, wheat and sorghum crops, which contributed well in agriculture revolutions. So the answer will be third 5-year plan, option C. Now question 5. Which agency is responsible for procurement, distribution and storage of food grains production in India? Option A, Ministry of Agriculture, option B, Food Corporation of India, option C, NAFED and option D, TRIFED. In 1964, Parliament decided to transfer government functions of trading in food grains to the public sector. Legislation was enacted and Food Corporation of India was born, which was responsible for procurement, distribution and storage of food grains. So the answer will be Food Corporation of India, option B. Question 6. Who regulates the markets in agriculture products in India? Option A, Essential Commodities Act 1955, option B, Agriculture Produce Market Committee Act enacted by states, option C, Agriculture Produce Grading and Marketing Act 1937, option D, Food Products Order 1956 and Meat and Food Products Order 1973. Agriculture Produce Market Committee APMC is the marketing board established by the state governments in order to eliminate the exploitation incidences of the farmers by intermediaries where they are forced to sell their produce at extremely low prices. APMC was founded in 2003 and play important role in regulating the markets in agriculture produce in India. So answer will be B, Agriculture Produce Market Committee enacted by states. Now question 7. Which one of the following terms describes the practice of growing two or more crops simultaneously on the same piece of land? Option 1 crop rotation, option 2 mixed cropping, option 3 intercropping, and option 4. So first we have to understand the meaning of all terms. Crop rotation refers growing of different crops on a particular piece of land each season. Mixed cropping refers to the growing of two or more crops without any pattern by mixing seeds of different crops. It is done to fulfill the multiple needs of a family for cereals, pulses, and vegetable, etc. Now third is intercropping. Intercropping refers to the simultaneous production of two or more dissimilar crops in a definite row ratio arrangement at same piece of land at the same time, and the focus of intercropping is mainly on row ratio arrangement. Now mixed farming. It refers to the growing of crops and raising of livestock. So as per the question, the answer will be 2, mixed cropping. Now question 8. Podui is the name of shifting agriculture in option 1 Sikkim, option 2 Kerala, option 3 Odisha, option 4 Himachal Pradesh. So first we have to understand the terms related to shifting agriculture. Sikkim, shifting cultivation practice is known as Jhum cultivation. It is also known as Jhum in Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Tripura, Nagaland. In Kerala it is known as Onam. In Odisha it is known as Podu. In Andhra Pradesh also known as Podu. In Himachal Pradesh it is known as Khil. So here the answer will be 3 Odisha. Now question 9. Nitrogen fixing bacteria make combination with cells of the roots of option 1 pulses, option 2 rice, option 3 wheat, and option 4 sugarcane. Biological nitrogen fixation is the fixation of elemental nitrogen in the atmosphere by the microorganisms. Nitrogen fixing bacteria are capable of transforming atmospheric nitrogen to fixed nitrogen in inorganic compounds, which is usable by plants. So the biological nitrogen fixing is taking place mainly in pulse crop, where symbiotic relationship is taking place. So here the answer will be first pulses. Now question 10. Yellow vein mosaic is a disease of which crop? Option 1 wheat, option 2 rice, option 3 okra, and option 4 maize. Yellow vein mosaic disease is a disease and there is yellowing of the entire network of veins in the leaf blade. So here the answer will be okra crop, answer 3. Now question 11. What are the advantages of fertigation in agriculture? On the basis of statements below, first, controlling the alkalinity of irrigation water is possible. Second, efficient application of rock phosphate and all other phosphatic fertilizers is possible. Statement B, increased availability of nutrients to plants is possible. Statement 4, reduction in the leaching of chemical nutrient is possible. On the basis of above statements, we have to select the correct answers. Like option 1, statement 1, 2 and 3 are correct. Option B, statement 1, 2 and 4 are correct. Option C, statement 1, 3 and 4 are correct. And option D, statement 2, 3 and 4. First we will go through fertigation. Application of fertilizers through irrigation water system is a control mechanism is called fertigation. So in this system there is controlled supply of fertilizers and irrigation water, and we are minimizing the losses. So now we will go through statements. Like first one, controlling the alkalinity of irrigation water is possible. This statement is true because there is controlled supply of fertilizer, so we can select the fertilizer which is suited for the crops, and we can control the alkalinity of irrigation water. Second statement, efficient application of rock phosphate and all other phosphatic fertilizer is possible. This statement seems incorrect because rock phosphate and other phosphatic fertilizers are much more soluble in water, so there may be precipitation or choking of pipelines. So this statement is not true. Of statement 3, increased availability of nutrients the plant is possible. Yes, this is correct because as we are going for control mechanism, we can control the supply of nutrients and water. Statement 4, reduction in the leaching of chemical nutrients is possible. This statement is true because we are supplying the nutrients and water to the crop zone, root zone, so there is reduction in leaching losses. So on the basis of above statements, the answer C, statement 1, 3 and 4 are correct. So answer will be option C. Now question 12, with reference to chemical fertilizers in India, consider the following statements. This question was also asked in UPSC preliminary exam 2020, and the statements are: at present, the retail price of chemical fertilizers is market driven and not administered by the government. Of statement 2, ammonia, which is an input of urea, is produced from natural gas. Option 3, sulfur, which is a raw material for phosphoric acid fertilizer, is a byproduct of oil refineries. On the basis of above statements, we have to select which answer is correct. Like option A, statement 1 only. Option B, statement 2 and 3 only. Option C, statement 2 only. Option D, statement 1, 2 and 3. So if we will go through the statements, the first statement seems incorrect. The retail price of chemical fertilizer driven and not administered by the government. This statement is incorrect because government is taking all steps to administer and control the chemical fertilizer prices. So this statement is incorrect. Second, ammonia, which is an input of urea, is produced from natural gas. This is true. Sulfur, which is a raw material for phosphoric acid fertilizer, is a byproduct of oil refinery. So statement 2 and 3 is correct. So answer will be option B, 2 and 3 only. Now question 13. The main components of evergreen revolution are: first statement, upgradation soil health. Statement 2, promote lab to land demonstrations. Statement 3, promoting rainwater harvesting. And statement 4, increasing cash crop production. Which statements are correct? Option A, statement 1, 2 and 3. Option B, 2, 3 and 4. Option C, statement 1, 3 and 4. And statement D, all of these. First we will go through evergreen revolution. By the evergreen revolution, the plan was to increase overall production of agriculture. The components of evergreen revolutions were technology, services, public policies, and farmers' enthusiasm. And this evergreen revolution involves ecological principles and focuses on upgradation of soil health, promote lab to land demonstration, and water harvesting systems. So here the statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3 is correct. So answer will be B of statement 2, 3 and 4. Evergreen revolution was not focusing on increasing only cash crop production. Now question 14. With the reference to the current trends in the cultivation of sugar cane in India, consider the following statements. This question was also asked in UPSC pre-exams 2020. The statements: 1. A substantial saving in seed material is when bud chip settings are raised in a nursery and transplanted in the main field. This statement is true. Second, when direct planting of seeds is done, the germination percentage is better with single budded seeds as compared to seeds with many buds. This statement seems false, incorrect, because single budded seeds are always risky compared to many buds, multiple buds. Because sometimes in adverse situation there may be germination issues or sprouting issues, so the many buds, multiple buds sets are preferred. Statement 3. If bad weather conditions prevail when seeds are directly planted, single budded seeds have better survival as compared to large seeds. This statement is also incorrect because when the conditions are unfavorable, then the multiple bud sets will be beneficial compared to the single budded sets. Now, statement 4. Sugarcane cultivated using settings prepared from tissue culture. Yes, this statement is quite true because now the seedlings are raised with tissue culture which are having the better establishment. So here on the basis of statements, the statement 1 and 4 seems correct. So answer will be option C, 1 and 4. Now question 15. With reference to pulse production in India, consider the following sentences. This question was asked in UPSC pre-exam 2020. Sentence 1. Black gram urad can be cultivated as both kharif and rabi crops. This statement is true. Black gram can also be cultivated as jayad crop, summer crop. Now option 2. Green gram moong alone accounts for nearly half of the pulse production. This statement is not correct because Bengal gram is the main pulse crop of India and most important and dominant pulse, having a share of around 40% in the total use of pulses in the country. So it is not possible for green gram to alone accounts more than half pulse production. So this statement is incorrect. Now sentence 3. In the last 3 decades, while the production of kharif pulses has increased, the production of rabi pulses has decreased. There is no correct explanation about the increase or decrease of pulse or rabi or kharif pulses. Government is focusing for the increase of pulse production. So on the basis of the statement, the answer 1, statement 1 seems true. So the answer will be option 1, sentence 1 only. Now question 16. The crop is subtropical in nature. A hard frost is injurious to it. It requires at least 210 frost-free days and 50 to 100 centimeters of rainfall for its growth. A light, well-drained soil capable of retaining moisture is ideally suited for the cultivation of the crop. Which one of the following is the crop? This question was also asked in UPSC preliminary exam 2020. Now the options are option A cotton, option B jute, option C sugarcane, and option D tea. Now we will go through the sentences like first subtropical nature. Out of these crops, the cotton crop most suited to subtropical in nature. So now second is the frost-free days are important. Out of all these crops, jute, sugarcane and tea, cotton is to frost days. So it requires 210 frost-free days. Now third is the rainfall is concerned. Cotton crop needs 50 to 100 centimeters of rainfall. And in case of sugarcane, there is a water needed from 75 to 100 centimeter when irrigation is not available. In case of jute, it requires high rainfall. In case of tea, there are intermittent rains throughout the season. So if the rainfall is concerned, it is best suited to cotton crop. Now a light well drained soil. Light well drained soil is required in case of cotton, while in case of jute there is, if waterlogging capacities there, waterlogging conditions are there, it may suit. And the sugar cane and the tea crops are also suited to winter season. So, and these are not much more related to subtropical. So on the basis of all these statements, the seems option A, cotton, is the best one. So answer will be option A, cotton. Now question 17. In the context of India, which of the following is or are considered to be practice of eco-friendly agriculture? This question was also asked in UPSC pre-exam 2020. The options given is crop diversification, legume intensification, tensiometer use, and vertical farming. So we have to select the correct answer out of all, like option A, the practices 1, 2 and 3, option B, practice 3, option C, practice 4, and option D, practice 1, 2, 3 and 4. So if we will go through all these practices, first one is crop diversification. Because of crop diversification, we are changing the crops, and because of this there will be improvement in fertility of the soil, and we can grow the diverse nature of crops. Now second is legume intensification. Because of legume incorporation is crop rotation, there will be increase in fertility, biological nitrogen fixation. So it is one of the eco-friendly practices. Now third is tensiometer use. Tensiometer is used to measure the moisture percent in the soil, and it is playing crucial role in giving the irrigation scheduling. So this is also part of eco-friendly agriculture. Now fourth is vertical farming. In case of vertical farming, the cultivation is in vertical arrangement and under controlled condition, and this vertical farming is done where there is lack of land cultivation and limited possibility is available. So this is also part of eco-friendly agriculture. So the all practices 1, 2, 3 and so answer will be D, practice 1, 2, 3 and 4. So answer is D. Now question 18. What is the use of biochar in farming? This question was asked in UPSC pre 2020. The statements are: biochar can be used as a part of the growing medium in vertical farming. Statement 2. When biochar is a part of growing medium, it promotes the growth of nitrogen fixing microorganisms. And option 3. When biochar is a part of growing medium, it enables the growing medium to retain water for a longer time. So on the basis of above statement, which answer is correct? Like option 1, statements 1 and 2 only. Option B, statement 2 only. Option C, statement 1 and 3. And option D, statement 1, 2 and 3. So in case of vertical farming, the biochar is used, and the statements given above all are true related to vertical farming. So the answer will be option D, statements 1, 2 and 3 all are correct. Now question 19. What are the advantages of zero tillage in agriculture? Like statement 1, sowing of what is possible without burning the residue of the previous crop. Statement 2, without the need for nursery of rice sapling, direct planting of paddy seeds in the wet soil is possible. Statement 3, carbon sequestration in the soil is possible. So select the correct answers using the codes is given below, like option A, statement 1 and 2 correct, option B, where the statement 2 and 3 are correct, option C, where statement 3 is correct, and option D, where statement 1, 2 and 3 are correct. Here first we will go through zero tillage. Zero tillage is the extreme of minimum tillage, where primary tillage is completely avoided and secondary tillage restricted to the seed bed preparation in the row zone only. So here we can say, in case of zero tillage, there is no burning of residue of the previous crops. This is true. And second, also without the need for nursery of rice sapling, direct planting of paddy seeds in the wet soil is possible. This is also true. And statement 3, carbon sequestration in the soil is possible. What is carbon sequestration? Carbon sequestration is the process of capturing and storing carbon dioxide. It is one of the methods of reducing the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere with the goal of reversible climate change. In zero tillage, we are not disturbing the soil and we are not burning the previous residue, so that way it causes the helping carbon sequestration. So this statement is also true. So here the answer will be option D, where the statement 1, 2 and 3 are correct. Now question 20. The apex institution in the sphere of agriculture credit is option A, State Bank of India, option B, Reserve Bank of India, option C, Regional Rural Bank, and option D, NABARD. Here the State Bank of India is commercial nationalized bank. Reserve Bank of India is Indian Central Bank and regulatory body under jurisdiction of Ministry of Finance. And this Regional Rural Bank is working for the development of rural area. And NABARD is the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. The mission of NABARD is to promote sustainable and equitable agriculture and rural development through policies which are related to financial and non-financial investment, innovations, technology, and institutional development of the securing prosperity. So NABARD seems the apex institution in the sphere of agriculture. So answer will be option D, NABARD. Now question 21. Color of the tag used on certified seed bag is option A, blue, option B, purple, option 3, white, and option 4, golden yellow. So here first we will go through the classes of the seed. The blue tag is used for the certified class, purple tag is used for registered class of seed, white tag is used for foundation class seed, and golden yellow tag is used for nucleus seed. So here is we are related to certified seed. The answer will be blue color, option 1. Now question 22. Dry land farming in India is largely confined to areas with rainfall less than option 1, 100 centimeter, option 2, 85 centimeter, option 3, 80 centimeter, and option 4, 75 centimeter. Dry land farming is preferred in semi-arid and arid zone where the rainfall is less than 75 centimeter. So the here answer will be option 4. Now question 23. National Bureau of Soil Survey and Land Use Planning is headquartered at option 1, Hyderabad, option 2, Delhi, option 3, Pune, and option 4. This organization's headquarters is in Nagpur. So answer will be option 4, Nagpur. Now question 24. Nitrogen fixing bacteria make combination with cells of the roots of option 1, pulses, option 2, rice, option 3, wheat, and option 4, sugarcane. Nitrogen fixing bacteria are having the symbiotic relationship with pulse crop where they fix atmospheric nitrogen in soil. They make combinations with pulse roots in form of root nodules and fix nitrogen. So the answer will be option 1, pulses. Now question 25. Which is the leading areca nut producing state in India? Areca nut is also known as betel nuts, and the options are option 1, Kerala, option 2, West Bengal, option 3, Manipur, and option 4 Karnataka. So as per the cultivation practices, the areca nut is mostly cultivated in coastal regions. This is a tropical crop and mostly grown in Karnataka state. So the answer will be option 4 Karnataka. Now question 26. What is intercropping? Option 1, it is the time period between two cropping seasons. Option 2, it is the growing of two or more crops in random mixture. Option 3, it is growing of two or more crops in definite row patterns. And option 4, it is growing of different crops on a piece of land in a pre-planned succession. First, we will go through definition of intercropping. Intercropping refers to the simultaneous production of two or more dissimilar crops in a definite row ratio arrangement at same piece of land at the same time of cultivation. So here the option 3 is matching to the definition of intercropping. It is growing of two or more crops in definite row patterns. So answer will be option 3. Question 27. Which of the following periods is known as first green revolution period in India? Option 1, 1951 to 1953. Option 2, 1966 to 1969. Option 3, 1975 to 1978. And option 4, 1981 to 1983. Green revolution took place in third 5-year plan in late 90s, which was for the period 1966 to 1969. So the answer will be option 2. Now question 20. Which of the following crops is not part of high yielding varieties program? Option 1 rice, option 2 wheat, option 3 jowar, and option 4 pulses. The high yielding varietal program was launched in 1966 during Green Revolution and to increase the productivity of crops rice, wheat, maize, sorghum and millet crops. So here the crop which was not covered under high yielding variety program was pulses. So answer will be option 4. Now question 29. Jhum cultivation is also called as option 1 dairy farming, option 2 sericulture, option 3 fish culture and option 4 shifting cultivation. Jhum cultivation is a type of shifting cultivation which was mostly used in Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, Tripura, etc. So this is a part of type of shifting cultivation. So answer will be option 4. Now question 30. Khera disease of rice crop is due to the deficiency of option 1 calcium, option 2 zinc, option 3 iron and option 4 copper. First we have to understand here the Khera disease. Generally diseases are caused by fungus, bacteria or viruses etc. Here the Khera disease is not caused by any microorganism pathogen, but this is caused by the deficiency of zinc nutrient. So the answer will be option 2 zinc. So this presentation was all about agriculture GK part 4 multiple choice questions. Hope this will be useful to all of you. Thank you very much. I have given here my YouTube channel details, Journey with Vijay Kumar Srivastava. Having request, please visit the channel, subscribe it and provide your kind and valuable feedback. Thank you.